Exciting new research from the annual Honors Scholars and Undergraduate Research Symposium.
Do millennials really like the official beliefs of the church? The religion department released a new book that answers that question.
And we hear from you. What's your favorite of the 28 fundamental beliefs and why?
A recap of the Andrews men's basketball team's crushing victory over the Penn State Beavers.
And a look at what's inside this week's student movement.
Plus, what's happening on the campus in the coming weeks.
Along with your weather forecast.
AU News starts right now.
This is AU News.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Racinos. Welcome to AU News.
And I'm Emmanuel Leonard. AU News is a production of the Advanced News Writing class in the Department of Communication.
Last Friday in Buller Hall, some 60 students presented at the Honors Scholarship and Undergraduate Research Symposium. Here's L'Oreal Lewis with more on this annual event.
It's testing to see if there's a relationship between open market operations, which is the Federal Reserve's way of buying security.
That's Allegra Stennett.
And the S&P 500, which is a stock index.
She's one of the 60 students who presented at the Honors Scholars and Undergraduate Research Poster Symposium last Friday. The event, sponsored by the J.N. Andrews Honors Program and the Office of Research and Creative Scholarship, is held annually to showcase undergraduate research on our campus.
We opened up the event so that we have honors thesis students presenting and then other students who've received undergraduate research scholarships.
Dr. Monique Pittman is the director of the J.N. Andrews Honors Program.
This was designed as a way for them to practice what it is to explain very precise research to a broad audience.
My two species of parasites, Toxoplasma and Sarcocystis, were generally in the supply of meat.
Well, my research is on visual cognition while listening to stories.
My research is on evaluating this consumer electrode right here.
At Andrews University, we consider student research to be very important.
This is L'Oreal Lewis for AU News.
Since 2002, the Office of Research and Creative Scholarship has established scholarships for undergraduate students to work with a faculty advisor on a project of mutual interest. The scholarships are worth $1,000 each.
Do millennial young adults really like the official beliefs of our church? That's the subject of a study conducted by researchers in the Department of Religion and Biblical Languages at Andrews University. Here's Eloise Ravel with the eye-opening results.
The results of a new study by the Religion Department was compiled and released in the book Beyond Beliefs: What Millennial Young Adults Really Think of the Beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
These are educated people who are going to be our next generation of professionals. They're intelligent, they're adults, they know how to think.
Well, the good thing though is that overall they really liked the beliefs of the church.
They did, yes.
But where they had issues was when they couldn't quite see how this would be relevant in their day-to-day life.
Adjunct Professor Jan Sigvartsen collaborated on the project with his wife Leanne and the Religion Department Chair Dr. Paul Peterson. Some of the results were startling. For instance, the belief relating to the Sabbath.
Beliefs that gave them a personal benefit were very highly regarded, like the Sabbath was the most popular belief. It essentially gave everyone a day off. I mean, that's a really good personal benefit.
Another surprise for the researchers was that most respondents were not too worried about their health. In fact, 72% identified as non-vegetarians.
These people are not too worried about their health. They're at 20-somethings and early 30-somethings. Health is not a way to sell vegetarianism to this group of people. Also, Ellen White said so, or this is the belief of our church. Again, these are critical thinkers. Give me a reason for why I should be a vegetarian. What resonated in these responses was that they are very against animal cruelty. They want to be stewards of the earth. They want to live in harmony with animals and other people. That's a really good selling point for vegetarianism. So maybe it's not that we throw out vegetarianism, it's just that we sell it to this new generation in a new way.
The study, done in the spring 2013 semester, consisted of 37 students enrolled in the Doctrines of Adventist Faith class. They were required to reflect on each of the 28 fundamental beliefs.
They wrote a response to every single fundamental. It wasn't just one response for all of the fundamentals. They responded to every single fundamental.
There's like 10 pages for each of the students, I guess, so it's quite a lot of writing.
Yeah. The Sigvardsens say that some may question the validity of the study because of the small sample, but they don't actually see this as a problem.
Literature seems to suggest that 15 to 25 people for a study of this nature is usually sufficient. So 37, we're doing well. It's actually quite a big study.
Religion Department Chair Dr. Paul Peterson thinks a study like this is significant to the church.
I think it's important because, let's say, Andrews is the last place that the church as such has contact with a number of young professionals who will go out in the world and often impact the church. And to understand what they know and understand about the Adventist beliefs would be very beneficial for the church.
Belief study is a journey. It's not, this is what we found and this is the way it's going to be forever and ever. This was a fishing exercise. We found out what young adults, what was important to them, what areas did we need to explore that were important to them.
This is Eloise Ravel for AU News.
This study, funded in part by the North American Division, is the first of 3 parts. For more information, you can visit the website at beyond-beliefs.com.
We took to the streets to ask you, which of the 28 church beliefs is your favorite and why? Here's what some of you shared.
One of the church's beliefs that is very important to me is...
For me, I think one of my favorite beliefs was always the Great Controversy. Mostly because I'm obsessed with literature and this idea of the battle between good and evil, whether it's like Superman versus Lex Luthor or Frodo versus Sauron. It's through all the literature I love.
To me, the most important ones really are the nature of man, that we are in a sinful state, that we need the vicarious atonement of Jesus Christ. So I think the atonement of Jesus Christ, as the fundamental beliefs talk about, is crucial to what it is to be a Christian.
Well,
I chose the Sabbath because it's just the one day a week where we can take a break from the worries of this world and just come together, fellowship with friends and family and the people that we care about.
To me, church is what gives life right now, right here, joy and meaning and life. It makes life, being able to be with people and spend time together.
You too can weigh in. Let us know on Facebook if you have a favorite and what it is.
Student Movement editor Melody Roshman joins us in our studio today. Thanks for joining us, Melody.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Melody, you wrote a provocative series on substance abuse on campus. What inspired you to tackle this topic on campus?
Well, around mid-January, all students received an email from Dean Fainer from Student Life, where she basically said that our drug and alcohol policy was exactly the same that it always was. And I looked at that email and I said, why would you send out an email to say nothing's changed unless something has changed? And so I scheduled an interview with her, and I found out that substance abuse on campus has actually gone up by 400%. At least discipline cases related to it have gone up 400%. We don't know whether it's gone up or whether we're just catching more. And so from there, I said, someone has to talk about this. So I scheduled some interviews, and I started talking to Dr. Dwayne McBride, who's in charge of research on substance abuse at Andrews. And I started talking to former students who'd gotten kicked out. And then around the same time I was researching this, Stephen Lichtenwalter overdosed on drugs and died. And so it was just an issue that's felt really, really relevant to me, and like someone needed to talk about it. And so I decided to do a big series on it.
So the subject of the first part of your series, was it difficult to get her to go public with her story?
I was actually extremely fortunate in that I was friends with her cousin, and he was the one who made the initial contact and said, hey, I have a cousin who went to Andrews who got addicted and she wants to share her story. And I used her story to frame the entire 3-part series, the 3rd part which is coming out this week, because I feel like statistics can only go so far. But if you hear something from the voice of a student like yourself, you're much more likely to believe it. And she just has such a powerful story of coming here and getting hooked on drugs and basically coming this close to death before intervention saved her life.
How were you able to talk to students about this underground culture at Andrews?
Obviously, no one on campus is going to admit to the fact that they party because then they can get in trouble for it. So a lot of it, and we don't take anonymous sources at the student movement, it's one of our policies. And so that's why I initially looked for a student who was gone. And she was able to tell me so much because she was already out of Andrews. What did she have to lose? I also talked to a lot of people who knew people who partied, who could talk about that without necessarily sharing names. And so while I don't have that many on campus going to school right now students speaking, I feel like we still have some pretty authoritative voices.
Thank you so much for joining us, Melody.
Thank you for having me.
Here's what's happening on campus in the coming weeks. When you return from spring break Monday, March 24th, online registration opens for the summer terms, fall, and spring 2015 semesters. Also, the Ellen White Issues Symposium begins on Monday, March 24th.
Here's your weather this week. After a brief affair with the sun, the weather has now dipped back down to below freezing. The snow will be short-lived, however, as temperatures are expected to rise above 30 degrees for the rest of the week, even making it up to 50 degrees next Tuesday. The highs for this week are 39 on Saturday, falling to 32 on Sunday, 39 on Monday, rising to 50 on Tuesday. Spring seems to be on our way.
Our final story is, of course, the win by the Andrews men's basketball team. The Andrews University Cardinals defeated number 8 seed Penn State Beaver to claim their third USCAA National Basketball Championship in the last 4 years. Way to go, Cardinals.
Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook. Thanks for joining us for another edition of AU News. We look forward to seeing you back here again next time.
Have a great spring break and God bless.